How do I curate the information that I actually want to learn? Newsletters. That's another really, really easy one. How do I build my own filters to eliminate the stuff that I don't want? And then how do I build filters to give me the stuff that I do want from an information perspective? What am I reading? What am I clicking on? It'll automatically refine for me instead of having me to be proactive with it.
You said so many things in there that I'm like, oh my gosh.
I might go do the dishwasher first. And then vacuum second, and then do taxes third, because I don't want to do taxes. I hate it. I'm procrastinating it, right? Treading water is the same as drowning to people like you and me. You better start swimming. Welcome to I'm the One podcast. I'm your host, Rob Green.
Social media, the news, there's so much information that we get hit with, up, down, left, right. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
How do you take a mindful approach to not let that stuff get to you or get you down?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I've watched some of these Social Dilemma, I think was a Netflix documentaries sort of that we watch as a family. I mean, they're targeted to bring us in and make us addictive to the information. It's an attention economy now, right? So it's all about how can I grab somebody's attention, whether it's good for them or bad for them is really the question. So as individuals, how do we fight against that? And my personal opinion is that I need to think about, do I want to be a victim here? And I use the word victim loosely. Or do I want to utilize this in a positive way? And for me, it's about being really proactive versus being reactive. How can I actually utilize this algorithm that they're trying to feed me information to benefit me? Okay. And I don't know a lot of people, and I call it an info diet. Right. And so I probably borrowed the concept from somebody else. I can't remember who, or I attribute to them, but it's like we have a nutrition diet, or how do we think about that information? And most of the time, even with nutrition diet, it's simple. We eat kind of randomly, or we have some things we like or some favorites, but it's not really planned out. And then we're inundated with the same kind of marketing information from fast food restaurants, casual dining, the grocery store, right? Same thing with information. But I think it's actually a little more insidious in that the information that we're getting bombarded with, a lot of it isn't good for us, kind of along the same lines of nutrition sometimes. But it's not good for us. Yeah. So how do we do that? And so that's what I think about is that's the problem. And then the framework I use is, how do I manage this proactively? Where do I want to invest my time and my energy? And what do I want to learn? And then can I use those algorithms? Can I use the software? Can I use the social media to feed me the information I actually want to learn and become better?
Do you have examples of that as far as like how, because I'm thinking about the algorithms and
Sure.
For me, like my Instagram, I follow health and wellness people.
Sure.
And so I get fed with positive stuff, but is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think the easiest one for me is AI. Last year, before ChatGPT came out or publicly available, I got very interested in AI. There was a little bit of information out at the time, and then once ChatGPT came out, tons of information.
Yeah.
So it becomes a problem of curation at that point. How do I curate the information that I actually want to learn? So the method that I use is I go out and find people that I respect. And that could be just listening to a few podcasts, doing some research. Once I find somebody that I respect, I go look for another node in the network on who do they follow in that same space.
Like that.
So I'll find somebody, I use Twitter as an easy example. I'll find somebody on Twitter that is delivering high quality content that I respect. I follow them, and then I look at who they're following. And then I go out to one separate node out across the network. And a concentric circle is kind of how I think about it. And each platform is the same. You've got this center, and then you've got a concentric circle around it and another one around it. So if they've already spent the time and energy, I'm just borrowing the work they've done on who they follow.
Yeah.
I do the same thing on, I like TikTok. TikTok is, some people, a lot of different opinions on it.
Might not.
It's the best algorithm I've ever participated in.
Yeah,
in that it feeds you what it wants to feed you, and it's so easy to get down this path of just sucked into videos. But when you follow and like different people, and especially like certain videos, it does the best job of giving you more of what you want.
So their algorithm is the best in your opinion?
In terms of giving you, that matches the indications of what you said you like.
Okay.
Whereas I feel like the other ones are a little bit loose. This one seems very hyper-focused on what you like. So if you consistently give it more information what you like, it'll narrow its focus. Same exact thing. So if I like somebody, I follow somebody, or I like soccer, let's say, I like a few different soccer videos, I start getting a lot more soccer videos immediately, not next week.
Right.
Immediately the algorithm starts to change and it starts to feed me what I want to feed me. So I also sign up for different newsletters That's another really, really easy one. So usually a lot of people have Substacks that where they're giving out once a week newsletters that are high quality,
Sure.
right? How do I take somebody who already spends the time and energy to write a newsletter or a column once a week and they put it on Substack and I feel that they have value? Who do they follow?
Okay.
And I'll go one more circle off from them. So what I try to do, I'll use AI as an example. I wanted to learn more and more about AI. So I signed up for multiple podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I followed a few people on Twitter. I signed up for a few newsletters. Like some people on TikTok. So now what I've created is I've created a huge funnel across different platforms of information to come in towards me. And then I filter off of that.
So do you notice that because now you say you got all this AI stuff hitting you, and then you're like, this guy isn't like delivering what I want. You delete him to
Yep.
get rid of him? Okay.
Yeah.
You
So
yeah.
so let's say we pick the easy example. I 3 newsletters I signed up for.
Mhm.
I signed up for 3 newsletters. It becomes really apparent to me which ones I'm reading, which ones I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I click on it, and I go, "Oh, Ben's Bites. That's one of my love." Share it with all my friends. I'm like, he was really early, and I'm like, I love Ben's Bites. Bam, followed it right away. I followed a couple other ones, Future Tools, I think, and maybe another one. And I noticed I started reading Ben's Bites all the time, and I was occasionally reading the other ones. Oh, that's a signal to me that I'm getting more value or more entertainment, depending on what the goal is, out of Ben's Bites. So then I'll cut the other ones and then I'll just keep refining and keep refining. And so now what I've done is essentially use this information funnel to my advantage to learn deeper about a specific subject. And then that allows me to be able to, maybe I'm not interested anymore, or maybe I've got to
Sure.
a point where I've
Yeah.
got enough knowledge that I feel comfortable with it. And I'm like, you know what, that was fine, and I got up to speed on it, right? I understand how AI works. I
Yeah.
understand how LMs work and transformers, and now I'm like, okay, do I want to go further than that? Probably not. I have no interest in going back to school and getting a computer
Right.
science degree.
Well,
But
that's another thing though, is like Ben's Bikes may take you to a certain place, and then you're like, okay, I've got all this,
yeah,
and then you find the next level if you want to go there. Is that what pretty
correct.
much what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can determine what you want to do with that information. And
Well,
so I think the first thing I think about is how do I build my own filters to eliminate the stuff that I don't want.
mhm.
And then how do I build filters to give me the stuff that I do want from an information perspective? It's as simple as starting with that.
Yeah. Do you find that it's because I know for me, I'll follow and then I'll follow, and then all of a sudden I've got more than I
Sure.
want, and
Huh.
sometimes it's difficult. I just get then it becomes too much. I'm out. I don't see anything. Right.
Yeah.
I guess the way to get through that is maybe just go through and purge all the ones you
Yeah.
want, like sit because I don't want to sit down and do this, right? But I guess it would be beneficial to sit down and get rid of the 20 that
I think you have to. I mean, I think it has to be a consistent activity. It's like you and I were talking about before about closets, and I talked about my family, and my wife hates when I do this, but my kids and my wife and I will be like, all right, listen, let's go through closets. We do it like every few months. Have you worn this in the last 6 months? Nope. Get rid of it.
love it.
Kids are good at it. Well, one kid is really good at it. The other
Yeah.
one's not so much, but she wants to hold on to it for sentimental value.
Right.
But really focus, hey, it's this or this. Keep this, keep that. And narrowing the
Mm,
purge. So we do it consistently. And I think that that decluttering
yeah.
is critical for me to help me think clearer. I'm more of a minimalist on goods and products and clothing. I'll wear the same clothes. If I find a shirt that I like, I'll buy it in every single color, so I don't have to think
Nice.
about it. I'll find a pair of pants. I'll buy it every single color they have in it because then it takes away that decision making energy that I have to put into it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with information. It's just harder to manage. I haven't found one great tool. There are tools out there to manage your subscriptions and your email and things like that.
Right.
But I mean, I'm hoping that there's an AI tool that I can find that will really hone in on where I'm spending my time on. What am I opening? What am I reading?
Mm.
What am I clicking on? It'll
Your
automatically
analytics.
refine for me
Oh,
instead of
yes.
having me to be proactive with it.
Yeah.
Until that time, I'm just consistently proactively
Yeah.
saying, all right, I haven't opened this in 5 emails. All right, I'm done with it. I'll focus my energy somewhere else.
Also, what you were saying about decluttering, like it's first of all purging the clothes, and everybody needs to do this at some point,
Yeah.
right? And when you actually do it,
Yeah.
it feels so good.
Feels amazing.
But also, what happens, like, and I talk about environment all the time because it's so impactful on us. Your just environment around it. When you said you've got all of this stuff, it clutters you, and it does. That's what it does. When you have a messy environment, your mind's messy. When
Yeah.
you clean it up, it's organized. Your mind goes into that track. So that's another part and benefit. You'll be a little bit more productive and efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot Jordan Peterson talked about this a few years ago, and David Goggins talked about it. I mean, I picked up from both of them or something about making your bed every day.
Mhm.
And I was
I think
never
there's a whole book on it.
yeah, I probably hit. I was never a maker of my own bed in
Yeah,
the
me
morning.
neither.
But once you make your bed in the morning, it kind of starts the day off, right? And every time you walk back in your room, it's like, wait a minute, it's nice and clean. I like
Oh,
things in their place. It just feels more comforting to me when you see, instead of seeing chaos.
right. And with that, so I'm a huge morning like if you win your
Mm,
morning, you're gonna win your day. So morning routines are huge. And I always, if I'm gonna build, I'm like, you don't have to do 4 hour morning routine.
no.
Start like 5 minutes, or just start with one thing, making your bed.
Yeah.
The one thing that I always go, first question, I go, when you wake up, what's the first thing you do? Your eyes open. What do you do? 90, probably 5% go, I go grab my phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the worst thing you can do, because what happens is now you're looking at a phone and all this information's hitting you and your brain goes into a reactive state.
Yep.
So you just train your brain to be reactive the entire day. Whereas if you start out your day and you do make your bed, or you go do a few things, you now accomplish something. So you're feeling good and now you're proactive, and then your day becomes that. So those simple little things add up.
I think they stack.
Yeah.
Right? They
Big time.
stack
Big
up,
time.
and you can add those habits, and you start doing little things here, that's I think where people get stuck, and including myself, I get stuck a lot,
Mhm.
where it's like, okay, God, there's like 50 things I should be doing better,
Mm,
right? And it's like, well, wait a minute, am I going to go change all 50 tomorrow? And then how long will I stay that way?
yeah.
Well, that sounds like a lot of work, and it sounds like I'm probably going to struggle to do that, and maybe I'll do it for a day or two or three, and then I lose it. But if I could stack one or two, and then I'll take another two, and take another two,
Yeah.
and it's, I just talked to my oldest daughter about this yesterday. She'd forgot some schoolwork to take to school, and she's calling her mother and I about bringing the school. I tried to bring it to school, couldn't get it. I was like, listen, you forgot it. There's consequences on this. We tried. You'll bring it tomorrow. You'll
Yeah.
bring it the next day, right? And so when I picked her from school yesterday, we had that conversation. I said, listen, what could we do to improve this? So she's like, I remember 99% of the time.
Mm,
I said, great. How do I help you structure your environment, or can we do something? And she said, she's like, I know, Dad, a checklist. And I said, listen, they wrote a book called The Checklist Manifesto for a reason. Great book. Highly recommend it to everybody. I said, when you do the checklist, do you ever forget anything? No. Great. Guess what we're going to do when we get home? We're going to build a checklist. You're going to build a checklist for what you need to do the night before so that you have everything ready for school. And she says, well, it might change every day. I said, great. It's like you're ordering off of a menu. So you're going to build everything you could possibly need to bring in your backpack, clothes for running, tennis shoes, change of clothes, everything you need, folders, whatever it might be. It all goes on the checklist. And then the night before, you pick out what you're going to wear the next day. You pick out your backpack. You get it ready by the door. We have a
love it.
place to put it. Now, what does that do? Increases the probability that you remember everything. Less stress in the morning. So now you're not hurried. If you accidentally oversleep, or something happens, or you have issue with a contact, or whatever happens, you're not building in this perfection that's required in the morning
Mhm.
for you to get out of the house on time so you can be on time to school. It just reduces the cortisol, I believe, and the stress levels in your
100%.
body. So let's just build the environment to give you a higher probability of success.
You said so many things in there that I'm like, oh my gosh. So first of all, the list. My life is a list. I
Okay.
write everything down. It's crazy, but it works.
Yes.
And so one of my main things, I have a system. It's a complete like life management,
Oh, cool.
personal development system called True Path, and it's based on writing down your next day
Mm,
the night before. And just some of the things that you mentioned. So what that does is, so now I write my stuff down, put away. I go to bed. I'm not sitting there thinking
yeah.
about what I have to do because it's right there on the paper. I just got to get up and do it. And when you get up and you do it, you cross it off, a little dopamine hit. You're like, oh, sweet. So all that's good. And then you're not having to make all of the choices and the decisions, which is willpower that you're using.
Yep.
And we only have, so much willpower. So it gets better at the end of the day because now you're saving because you already have everything planned out for you. I loved it. That was amazing.
Oh, cool. I didn't know about the system. I want to check it out because I do struggle with that. I think I'm good at strategic planning, but I don't think I'm great at like the checklist myself.
Oh, no?
I think I need to do better. I force my kids to do it, but I need to do a better job about,
Do as I say, not
yeah,
as I
do
do.
as I say, not as I do. And I think I can do a better job of that because when I do it, it's amazing. Like you
Yeah.
said, it works so well. And I don't want to waste my mental energy on this blue shirt or this light blue shirt,
Yup.
right? I want to be able to just make a decision, plan it all out, and not think about it, and then use that mental energy on something that's got more value. I like the cliche or the saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I don't know if you've heard that one before.
Nah.
Yeah, you spend all your time and energy on something that's like low value, and you win a low value prize.
All right.
I mean, that just seems
Yeah.
like a waste of my time and energy at this point.
And I mean, again, all of this stuff is so important. People don't think that, writing something down, is that important. But when you do that stuff, again, you get to remember it. It's easier. Your life
Mhm.
becomes easier. All you got to take is 5 minutes the night
Yep.
before and do it. It's simple as that. One other thing that you mentioned, I was, when we have 50 things to do, when I have 50 things to do, I'm like, too much paralysis analysis.
Yep.
I'm out. What I do is like cleaning my garage is a great example.
Mm,
If I thought I had to go clean my own entire garage, I'm not gonna go do it.
mm.
So I go pick one corner, one box, start there, and then that little, motivation lets me get to the next. So it's just chunking them down too.
You take something that is a lot of steps, and you break it down into 3 steps,
Yeah.
it feels a lot more tangible. We can actually get it done. We have confidence in that.
Mhm.
You take the same 3 steps and you expand them to 30 steps, and you get overwhelmed. So make it down to, bigger chunks, smaller steps, and tackle it. It's interesting that you say that because what I do is if it depends on the situation, but for business in particular, I just use a 2 by 2 matrix. They commonly called an Eisenhower matrix.
Okay.
So it's just 2 by 2. It's a 2 by 2 box, 4 squares, right?
Yeah.
You've got urgent, not urgent, important, not important. And then you want to do the activities yourself that are urgent and important,
Sure.
right?
May not want to.
You may not want to, but those are things that your highest value. And
Yeah.
then things that are actually not urgent, but important, maybe you can actually delegate those.
Yeah.
And then the
Okay.
not urgent, not important, we don't even want to talk about,
Right.
right?
Until they get up there.
Urgent, but not important, we can delegate to somebody else to get done also, right? So it gives you a framework of if I look at this matrix
I
as 2
like
by
that.
2, where do I want to spend my time and energy? And then where do I not want to spend my time and energy? And I think, and this is probably maybe a bad perception on my part. I always think about lists. A lot of people get into lists, and that feeling of crossing off or checking it off
Huge.
is like, I need that. But sometimes people do that, and they do it with the easy stuff. They're like, "Hey, I've done this.
Yeah.
I need to do my tax. Here's what I need to do. I need to the dishwasher.
Mhm.
I need to do my taxes, and I need to vacuum."
Yeah.
Well, taxes are due next week, let's say. I might go do the dishwasher first,
Mhm.
and then vacuum second, and then do taxes third because I don't want to do taxes. I hate
Right.
it. I'm procrastinating it.
Right.
Right. So that framework of the urgent versus the important, I think, gives you a little bit of clarity. And then when we all feel this way, I feel this way. I should say, I shouldn't say everybody, but when I get something done, I've been procrastinating or I don't want to do,
Mm.
but it's important, and I'm the only one that can do it. And you do it, you feel amazing.
Monkey off the back.
That's gone. Now I'm like,
Huge.
oh, I should have done this a week ago.
Yeah.
A month ago. I think that's what I've learned is just tackling it head on. And then you feel so much better when it's done, but you've got clarity on what your goals are and you're able to accomplish the things you want to accomplish.
And something big like the taxes, right?
Yeah.
That's large. You look at that taxes like, oh, what? And a lot of times we don't even know where to start. It's just so big. But that's the key to doing a big project is you go pick that small little, let me just start with one thing.
Yeah.
Or if you have like 50 emails you got to write back, just start with the one line of instead of thinking of all of them, right? It just chunking it down into a small little.
Now the taxes hit hard personally because my CPA Scott's been pinging me for like the last couple of weeks. I've got all I have to do is
That's on your list now.
all I have to do is review all the taxes that he's done because we'd filed an extension. The deadline's coming up.
Oh
and
yeah.
He actually sent a message to my wife the other day. Hey, I've called Rob. I've left voicemails. I've emailed him. What do I need to do to get him on the phone and get him to review these things? So
Rob's ghosting his
that's a
tax
real
guy.
one that I've been procrastinating on. That I need to get it done because it is important.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one that can do it. So I've got to actually go review them and make sure it's done. But I've been procrastinating because I don't want to do it.
What's the first thing that you have to do to actually do that?
First thing is just honestly for me is to block out time, sit down and go through them. I'm capable of doing it. I just hate doing tax. I hate accounting. So I need to sit down, go through them, and then I'm sure I'll have a few questions for him. I'll ping back to him, and then we'll resolve it. So the first step is I need to book a time to sit down and just commit to doing it.
Yeah.
And so even it's so stupid saying that now. I'm going to do it this weekend. Done. Sunday's done.
It's not stupid. It's the way
so
we work.
crazy.
Our brains are insane.
Yeah. Even when we know better. Even when I know better.
Yes.
I still end up falling into those traps.
Yeah.
So this has been great for me because talking through this, a real world example for me, gives, even though I know what I should do and I don't want to do it and I haven't done it. So now I have to do it. So now I'm just committed. I've just made a decision. I'll look at my calendar, but Sunday at 1:00, I think 1 p.m. on Sunday should be the time I'll put on my calendar.
I'm
1 hour, I'll be done.
I'm checking in next week.
Done.
All right.
1:00 Sunday, getting those taxes done. So
nice.
I think for a lot of people, I think the key really is deciding how they want to take action next.
Mhm.
And what should they do and what can they do today?
So, what tactics can someone do today to create their own information diet?
Yeah, I think I don't want it to overwhelm people. I mean, I think that the easy thing is to start with the simple things that could make a largest impact. They're the highest leverage activities. The number one thing, activity or tactic that I used a few years ago is I turn off all notifications on my phone.
Huge.
It sounds so simple, but we get distracted. I don't have an Apple phone or Apple Watch. I see people with Apple Watches, and they have
Mm.
a lot of them have turned into Pavlovian dogs.
Yep.
Like it's ding,
Yep.
ding, like what? Ding. I mean,
It's
they're just like this. You're
amazing.
talking to them, and they're like
Yeah.
this. They've been trained now to look at their Apple Watch. It's unbelievable, and they're completely unaware. Now they're like, "Ding!" I heard somebody else's, and they
Yeah.
look at it anyway.
Yeah.
It's truly Pavlov's dogs in that situation. So I think the number one thing is, and I just had this conversation with my oldest daughter last night. Let's turn off all your notifications. Your mother and I need to get a hold of you. So we can do an emergency bypass. Is
Mhm.
there anybody
Yep.
else we can do emergency bypass on? No. That right there has stopped you from being reactive to your phone,
Mhm.
which is probably the most interruptions. Most people pick up their phone like I think it's like 200 times a day. It's
Oh,
insane
I'm sure.
how many times people pick up their phone. It's
Yeah.
it's a crazy number. So now we stop being and it's weird when you first do it, or at least when I first did it, because you'll still pick up your phone. Like you'll still pick up your phone and look at it.
Of course.
So how can we change our mindset and just taking that off, don't look at it, and then we choose when we want to check Messenger. I've got like 8 different apps for communication: Facebook Messenger,
Yeah.
Discord,
Right.
Telegram, I don't even WhatsApp, text.
It's amazing what happens to you when you do that.
Yeah,
You start to live in a different little world where you now are present with somebody or
yeah.
something, which is actually living because the other way you're in, la la land, and
Right.
that's not really living the way I look at it.
No, I think it's so easy to get sucked in. I mean, they're a lot of the devices are engineered to do this to you. So we have to be just aware of do we want to participate in that or not, and that's a conscious choice.
Yeah,
If you want to be participate in it, you can.
exactly.
And so I think number one would be notifications. I never have my ringer on unless I'm expecting a call from somebody.
Yeah.
If otherwise, my ringer is off 24 hours a day.
Yep.
All I don't have it on. There's no need for me to have my phone on for my ringer. Most of it's spam anyway, or people I don't know. So why even have the phone ringer on?
But like you said, you can have a bypass for your wife or your
Yeah,
kids or
yeah,
anything
set it
like
up for
that.
bypass
Right,
for
right,
text
exactly.
or things
Yeah.
that we know if it's all I say to myself is, if this was an emergency and this person called me, would I want to answer?
Yeah.
If that is the case, then I will put them on bypass. And if I go visit somebody or I go visit out of town and I want that person to be able to reach me, I turn on the bypass.
It'll take 5 minutes to do
Yeah,
that, and then
just
your
turn on
life
the
becomes
bypass.
yeah.
The
Oh, I love it.
the difference is changing your default. My default now is no notifications with ringer off versus the default for most people are notifications on with ringer on.
Right.
And
Please distract me.
yeah, yeah, please distract me, and I don't want to do that. So then you become. I think that's the first step I would recommend to people. That was a huge change in my life,
Mhm.
is getting off of that. And once you do it and you don't have those distractions, it's amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. And then I think after that, it's what do I really want the world to teach me, or what do I want other people to teach me? Is there a topic that I'm interested in for professional reasons or just for hobby? Maybe you want to learn more history or art or something like that, or you've got a trip plan in the future. You're going to go to Europe. Well, hey, why don't I just start building out an information diet about Renaissance art? And I want to just build some funnels about somebody who's talking about it and talking about maybe art that's been sold, so you can enjoy your vacation a little bit more.
Perfect micro example. I'm going up for my fantasy football. This week, I turned on because I usually listen to podcasts or audiobooks when I'm driving.
Yep,
I turned on my XM fantasy football. So I'm like just
there you go.
digesting whatever I can. Just, I'll turn it back off when I'm gone.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That was a proactive choice. It
Yeah.
wasn't a
100%.
reactive
Yes.
choice. And I think that's the biggest difference. So, man, I love information diet. It's a simple concept. I don't know who I borrowed it from or stole it. I don't know.
Yeah,
What,
make it your own, man.
what did Picasso say? Good artists borrow, great artists steal.
There you
So
go.
I probably stole that from somebody. But yeah, it's a great concept. Allows you to be more in the moment and be proactive about what you want your life to turn out to be. And never stop becoming the one.
Love it.
All right. Good talk, buddy.
All right.
See ya. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with friends. Visit I'mTheOne.com and ask me anything. And as always, stay curious and never stop becoming the one.